We're live.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hollywood Hustle, your weekly favorite podcast. I am your co-host, Tom Bates.
Jordan Sherman over here because we're signed into my Facebook right now. If you're listening audio version, you can watch on video. And if you don't know Tom's a friend of mine from Florida. We grew up in the same town. We played baseball together. And we started this thing a few weeks ago where we just chat about random stuff. And it's been pretty entertaining. I've learned a lot about myself, and it's pretty fun. So we'll see where this goes today. And this is our first ever live stream. So welcome to the stream.
Yeah, that's what's up. I thought we probably would have quit this by now, but it's so good. Keeps me coming back fighting that fucking traffic every week from Santa Monica into Hollywood.
It's a ways away. It ain't easy. That's dedication, folks. You don't know dedication till you drive in LA traffic.
I sacrifice for you.
That's what we do. And then I got my cat who's starting to cause some stuff over here. But
oh, what's up? Obstacles.
Yeah. Tom, you talk for a couple seconds. I'm going to remove the cat, and I'm going to close the door, and I'm going to fix the video a little bit, and I'm going to see. We already have some viewers, so you can start off by just kind of introducing yourself a little bit of what you do, what you were just doing over here with your class and everything too. So.
Cool. All right. Yeah, put me on the spot. All right, so like you said, my name's Tom Bates, 28 years old, actor, musician, originally from Fort Lauderdale area of Florida, specifically Lighthouse Point. You moved out here about a year and a half ago, started living in Hollywood. That sucked. Too many degenerates, too much traffic, too loud. So I then decided to move to Santa Monica. It's more my pace. If I had to use one word to describe it, it would definitely be sexy. Santa Monica's very sexy. And, I love it. It's good, and everything's going good. Been playing some gigs, focusing more on acting these days, pays the bills. It's fun. Women are beautiful, and I dig it. But yeah, I just came from acting class in Hollywood. That's always interesting.
So, we talk a lot about the difference between being a professional musician and being a professional actor, and the different barriers that there are to break to get into the game at all. It's a long subject, and we've talked about it on the podcast before. But for our new viewers on Facebook, I would like to just take a moment to open up the conversation about how if you are going to pursue acting, you need to have some actual feedback as soon as possible in your career, so you can start to actually shape your performance and your level as an artist. Because on the music side, we get feedback from our teachers. Like, it's from the time you're a little kid, you know if you're doing well or not. Playing that piano recital when you're 6, and granted, everybody's going to clap anyway, but there's a lot more opportunity to grow and get better at your craft, which I think as an actor is a little more difficult, and I think it's pretty easy to become disillusioned into thinking that you're good because your family and friends don't see your acting skills. They don't know what you're up to, and you just have this idea that you're going to be an actor. So can you offer some insights as to if that's correct in my line of thinking?
Let me cut right to the heart of the matter. Being a professional musician is much more difficult than being a professional actor. Yeah, I said it because it's true. It absolutely is. How many crossover musicians do you get that become actors? Countless. Zillions, right? How many actors are crossover musicians that didn't play an instrument before they were an actor? Like, you got Keanu Reeves plays bass. He's apparently really good. Everyone knows Johnny Depp. Yeah. Billy Bob Thornton is in a band around here too, which is pretty cool. He played at the Mint a couple weeks ago. And those guys already played before they were actors. So that's easy to do. And then, but to be a professional, right? And part of being a professional is the money making, the economic aspect of using your craft to gain resources. You can become an actor by getting that break, getting that opportunity. Like, I was listening to a podcast with Matthew McConaughey, and he was talking about how he was just in the right bar at the right time. And the guy that produced Dazed and Confused happened to be in a bar in Austin, Texas, when Matthew McConaughey was at University of Texas at Austin. And he was just talking to him, and they hit it off. And he's like, oh, you ever acted before? Boom. What a fucking break. And that was one of his most memorable roles, right? All right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
Exactly. But that doesn't happen as a musician. You're not going to run into David Geffen at a cocktail party. He's going to be like, I like your personality. You should go on tour.
Yeah, because being being a good actor is just being good at being a person on camera.
Yeah, dude, it's just, man, I was listening to Marlon Brando talk about it the other day too, and he didn't give a fuck about anything, to a fault. And he had an entire decade in the 80s where I don't think he even made a movie or didn't do anything worthwhile, right? And as a musician, I mean, you can't really do that. Like, you got to be on top of it so much. And
even more so now, for sure.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Man, you read my mind.
Yep.
Yeah, as a musician, you have to write the music, record the music, produce the music, get it mixed, get it mastered. Then let's move over to the marketing. You have to do the social media marketing. You have to do the YouTube channel. You have to send it to CD Baby for distribution. Then let's go to the booking. You have to book your shows. You have to arrange your shows. You have to rehearse for your shows. You have to get people to come out to your shows. You have to sell tickets. You have to monetize that. You know, then you got to do all the government shit with tax forms and stuff, all to play music. Probably for free.
Yeah. Well, but that's to be the artist, right?
Yeah.
Versus there is a whole world of professional working musicians, which
of course,
which I think, granted, they're not going to make as much as a professional actor would.
No, not even close.
But I feel like if you work very, very hard at your craft, you can make it happen at a point. Like, there's always luck, there's always connections, there's always a lot of factors as to whether or not you're going to actually get work. But because of what we talked about earlier and the fact that you can actually determine whether or not you're good, I think by the time you, especially at our age, 28, if you decide that you wanted to, it's not like you just came to this realization that you want to be a professional musician. You've been working towards this your entire life. You know?
Yeah.
And in my case, it's been since I was 4, which is a huge advantage, which is why I'm in the position that I'm in, I think.
Right. Sure.
When did you start playing?
When I was like, I got my first guitar when I was 12. I was still playing baseball at the time, and my dad got me the guitar. He's like, okay, here you go, kid. Enjoy it, but don't ever play it because that's going to detract from you playing baseball. I don't know why the hell you'd want to play guitar. It's like, okay, I'm not following your logic, man, but sure. And then I started playing around when I was in 17. When I was in high school, I saw this kid I knew played the riff to Simple Man, and that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to learn the riff to Simple Man. I'm like, I'll put it down. That's cool. It's my party trick. And then you know how it is. It snowballs. One thing leads to another, and then you see the cool picture of like Jimmy Page with the double neck guitar, or if you're like me, you see the one where he's slamming back the bottle of Jack Daniels. You're like, I want that. And then you go and you waste away 10 years of your life in a small warehouse in Margate, Florida, surrounded by pool chemicals, and you learn how to play guitar. That's what everyone does, right? Pool chemicals.
I would advise against the pool chemicals. But yeah, so I think obviously when you enter, how much work you've done early on, and then obviously, hopefully you have a group of confidants who give you honest criticism and feedback, because if you don't have that, then you start going to auditions and you start trying to talk to agents and management, and they just laugh at you like you're a fucking idiot, because they're like, how did you make it this far with nobody telling you that this is something you shouldn't be doing? American Idol just came back on the air, and half the first few weeks of the show is that it's like, what? And they do it on purpose because of the ratings, but they want people for the entertainment value suck, right?
Yeah, William Hung was probably their biggest fucking star.
Yeah.
He's probably bigger than Kelly Clarkson at the time. Shebang, shebang.
Oh, baby, shemo, shemo. Yeah. But nobody told that guy he sucked for his whole life. How does that happen?
I don't know. He probably had he was probably a second generation American, so he grew up learning English, probably didn't even understand Chinese, and his mother would just give him these looks of just pure shame, and he was like, fuck you, I ain't gonna be a star.
Yeah, everybody's like, William, you're really fucking bad, dude. He's like, no, I make it happen.
This is the land of opportunity. You know what? God bless him. We need more people like that, man. I almost wish I didn't have any self-reflection, and I could. I mean, not suck and just keep going, but sometimes
kind of like a Trump situation. Where you just trudge forward through everything, and nothing phases you. Everything's great. I'm the best. This is amazing. Stormy Daniels, nice fake tits, great movie god.
Yeah, I mean, I think to a degree, people are like that. But I mean, in regards to music and acting, like I feel like in acting, and you can watch movies and you can emulate things, and then that's essentially what people do. You hear all the good actors behind the scenes; they'll tell you like, "Oh, I take a little bit of Tom Cruise, and then I'll take just a little bit of James Dean, and hey, some Chris Farley for the humor, and I mix them all together, and that's me." Like, no one's creating anything new. It's all drawing inspiration. It's not ripping off. It's drawing inspiration. I think that's part of being a student in a discipline like that.
Yeah, and same for music, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think the best art does come from the more reflective people, the people who are questioning themselves and their place in this universe, and that's what really breeds amazing music, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's the highest art form, is the art that explores that boundary of our existence, right? So it's like something along the lines of comparing a Monet, an impressionist, beautiful painting of water lilies, of this perfect scene in your life of ideal perfection, done painstakingly to make it actualized and visualized, versus some guy writing like G-Funk Dog on a fucking building with a can of spray paint. Like, sorry, like a dollar sign written with a can of spray paint is fucking lowbrow art and doesn't count. It's degenerate. It's a fucking crime, actually. So
For real.
yeah,
Get out of here with that.
yeah, we don't want it.
We disapprove here at the Hollywood Hustle.
That's right.
But yeah, dude, and so I might as well segue into kind of some stuff about what I've been up to recently and with the album coming out and everything. My bandmate partner Sean Sally was over this morning. We just had a little rehearsal. We're getting ready for our album release show on the 24th.
Nice.
And we just booked a follow-up show at the Satellite in Silver Lake.
Ooh, Satellite. That's
Yeah.
big time, baby.
April 13th, Friday night. It's going to be a hell of a time. But we're just, it's funny, and this goes for everything, and same for even just determining your personality or whatever, but momentum and the power of each small victory, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So one victory leads to another, and that's I've heard, you know, who talks about this a lot is Jordan Peterson, which
Yeah.
is the reason that successful people get more successful, or people with money get more money, is because it's all exponential. It's not a linear progression of, you know, improvement. It's a win here means potentially 2 wins here.
Right, it compounds.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
and it's completely true. And so I advise anybody who's trying to accomplish anything in their career or in their life to just really be fine with the small victories, you know, and just embrace them and let that lead to more opportunity. Don't get discouraged, because the Satellite, we've tried to book this joint for almost a year. And part of it, I think they do have a new booking agent, so he seems more attentive than whoever the last person was. But, you know, having the single come out, having the video, all this buzz about the album, a couple other gigs in the books, now, you know, we have some leverage, you know, and that's what you need. And same with acting. The second you get a role, now how many more roles are open up to you?
Absolutely, and that's how you make a career out of that. And it's really simple physics, because it's a concept of inertia, right? You got this massive boulder that is your hopes, your dreams, your destiny right before you. But that shit ain't gonna happen on itself. You gotta move that damn thing. So you push, you push, you push, you push until finally it starts rolling a little bit. And then at a certain point, you keep pushing on that damn thing, you're not gonna be able to stop it. And it's like, I remember Tom Petty said he couldn't get gigs at all. And then you start getting so many gigs that you don't want anymore, right? Does it work this way with women? No, it doesn't. They're always difficult. That's the paradigm. That's the caveat, is that women, it's always difficult.
But yeah, man, I mean, so we're super stoked. And then the album itself comes out on the 22nd. And we're just thrilled, dude, because every track we're proud of. The show, you know, especially for the album release, we're playing the whole thing front to back. We got a little trippy intro, you know, like we're actually doing things that real touring bands do, you know, instead of just like we plug in our amp and we play, which is, there's something cool to that too, but we have a show, you know, and it's been crafted for the last year, and it's I'm so excited for it to come to life finally, you know.
Nice. Now, are you doing the background dancers in Cirque du Soleil thing again? Are you going to do that?
Flame twirlers.
Okay, you know the flame twirlers?
Yeah.
You know, I told you how I feel about that, but okay. No, that's awesome. This record's going to be great. I was talking to Corey yesterday, my buddy Corey. He's a producer, and he was a guest on one of our shows a few weeks ago. And he really digged that song that you showed him. And then I really digged even more so the song you showed me last week. So I'm like, dude, you got to check it out. So we're gonna listen to the album when it drops. We're gonna
take a little drive, windows down.
Yeah. Drive out through Santa Monica, maybe up to Malibu. You know, bumping your shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Right on, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. If you have something you want to dive into real quick, I'm going to see if we've been getting any love on Facebook real quick.
You better love us.
All right.
Because we love you. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on some new stuff. I've got a huge opportunity that's coming my way, but I'm a little bit superstitious, so I'm going to keep it under wraps until I get that shit in print. But it's a...
Danny Gutner's on.
Dan Gutner?
He says, hell yeah, Tom.
What's up, dude?
We got Georgina from Australia.
Down under.
We got Michael
Michael
Massey. Yeah. Who else? Oh, Shawnee's on. Oh, Max Cortez says, talk about how you get chicks.
Yes, okay, fine. So my strategy, I live in Santa Monica, and the best places to go are down on Ocean. It's for you Florida folks, it's California's equivalent of A1A. And there's the Bungalow. Holy shit. Have you been there?
It's glorious. I go for the ping pong, though. But
yeah, they have the ping pong table. Hey, every time I go, I mean, not being racist here, but there's always Asians on the ping pong table.
It's a serious passion for them, so, you know.
Yeah, they can't help it. Anyway, yeah, so, the Bungalow's where I go, man. That's shooting fish in a barrel, or better yet, throwing a stick of dynamite in a fucking barrel. I mean, that place is great, and it's usually...
What's your technique?
My technique?
Yeah.
Dude, here's the thing. Like, guys these days are so timid, and that's the biggest turnoff to women. And if you're watching any of these podcasts, you're watching some, I'm obviously not a timid guy. I just walk right the fuck up to them and just say, hey, what's up? And I look at women that not only do I think are attractive, but that I think are genuinely interesting people. And I talk to them, and I'm not a sleazeball, like trying to get in your pants. Like if it happens, it happens. If there's a spark, cool. But I go out. I mean, this is California, dude. You got some of the most interesting people in the world. I find strangers to be incredibly interesting. And young ladies are very interesting. Their take on the world, because they think of shit that I don't think of. So, yeah, I mean, I just go up. I'm a pretty genuine dude. And I'm not the kind of guy that's like, you know, like Louis C.K. says in a skit, like, you know, the most dangerous thing you'll see at night is the pack of 8 guys that didn't get laid, right? Like, I'm not that dude. I don't go down, you know, swinging and then I have to bash somebody's head. Yeah. Yeah, the steroids kicking in and, you know, get the rage. Nah, man, that's what I do. I'm just chill, man. Probably the only time in my life I'm chill.
As for me, I'm not going to share my secrets. So sorry, Max. Ain't going to happen.
Yeah. You got to pay. That's behind the paywall.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I do. I like
Monthly
it.
subscriptions.
Yeah, I mean, I got a great roommate. He just moved here from the East Coast, so we go out. And I'll tell you a quick aside. So we went out on Friday, and we get in the lift, and the lift guy's like, hey, we got to pick someone up real quick. We got a ride share. We're like, fuck. So we go to the CVS in Santa Monica, and there's this dude standing outside. He's got 2 bottles in his hands. Big black guy. He's got a bottle of Hennessy and a bottle of champagne, and he's drinking out of both. And he walks over to our lift. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be great. And he leans his head in. He looks at both of us. And he goes, where the party at? And we're like, oh my God. I look to my roommate and I give him a nod. He's like, dude, do you want to come out with us? We're like, fuck it. We're rolling the dice on this. So he's like, fuck yeah, where we going? So we ended up going to Bungalow 21 Ocean. And this guy was just like the ultimate icebreaker. He was fucking awesome. And his name was Q.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this guy's great.
Q, we know you're watching. So,
that's right, baby.
Yeah.
Shout out to you. So, yeah, man. And then my roommate started going out with him the next night. And we're going to go out with him this weekend. So we're developing our crew, man.
Oh, boy.
And it's cool. It's cool. So,
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah. Let me adjust my headphones here.
But there's something else I just wanted to bring up because I just think it's important right now, too.
Oh,
Because,
God.
yeah, I'm going there. I'm having my Hollywood Oscars moment. Okay. So, yeah, no, I'm not doing that, people. I'm reasonable. I try to use my brain. I'm not the best at it. I'm not the smartest person, but I'm currently in the middle of this book called Enlightenment Now by Steven Pinker, and it's the case for reason, science, humanism, and progress. And it's fascinating to see just how far we've come along in such a short period, and also how amazing people like the founders of this country, how forward-thinking they really were, because they essentially are protecting us from all kinds of crazy shit with how they wrote and pretty much, how they invented democracy. It's incredible.
Sure, yeah.
So he talks a lot about that, but there's just so many amazing ways to look at the world, and the way that the media portrays it is the most beneficial to them, not to us. And if you were to just look at sheer stats alone, even with the mass shootings, even with everything, violence is down across the entire world. Hunger is down. Poverty is down. Everything is down. And if it continues, and that's a part of the reason for the book, is not to just be like, we did it, we're there. It's to remember what the people of the Enlightenment era thought and how they created this world that we currently live in, and how to continue to progress into a place where, there's less genocide, which there already is, but less and less and less. And we're getting there. And I recommend this book to anybody because it's positive, but it's not woo-woo. It's all facts. The whole thing is just a book of graphs and charts of just the trends of what people are up to these days. And it's really inspiring and just makes me stoked. So, and that's how I always felt. Even though you see so much doom and gloom and all, we have a negative bias. And he talks about the law of entropy too. Are you familiar?
No, please enlighten me.
Yes. So the law of entropy is way more things can go wrong than can go right in your own life, in anything. And that's just the truth. So when things go right, they ought to deserve more praise, but we have a negative bias in our minds for probably evolutionary purposes to focus on the negative. And it's really not benefiting anybody. So it's been really cool to uncover all these different facts. And Steven Pinker, great guy.
That's right. Yeah, he's a huge fan of the show.
Yeah,
yeah, big donor too. That's actually where I got these fancy jeans at. Was he gave them to me. But
nice
man,
guy.
yeah. So yeah, man, the charts, the graphs, empirical data, I find that shit fascinating.
Yep.
And that's cool because he's not just making some nebulous case for, see, it's better now because we have iPhones and cars like Tesla. God, if I see one more person driving a fucking Tesla thinking that shit is so cool because it has an iPad in the dashboard, I swear to God. But anyway, yeah, I think we're probably better off now. And again, we were discussing this before the show. The media portrays it a certain way because, like you said, if it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah.
And again, like, you know what song really nailed that? I mean, like, directly on that was Dirty Laundry by Don Henley.
That's a great song. Yeah,
exactly. I make my living off the evening news. Just give me something I can use. People love it when you lose. They love dirty laundry.
Yeah,
and it's true. And I mean, I remember my mother when she'd work a night shift. She'd wake up at like 4 p.m. and she'd turn on Channel 4 News while she's eating her meal before work. And I'd watch it with her, and it's just all bad shit, bad shit, bad shit. And it's almost like they were trying to manufacture bad shit that shouldn't even be on the news.
Well, there's enough bad things happening across 7 billion people that you can fill a news cycle pretty easily.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, and even if you just look at violence alone, right? We have this epidemic right now of the mass shootings, and it makes a lot of buzz in the media, especially. They're happening. It's worth talking about, obviously. But and with terrorism especially, too. Both domestic and international, it's such a small fraction of the people who die by homicide.
So, yeah.
But there's too many. Since we've been talking in this country, how many people do you think were shot? 5, 6? Since we've started this conversation?
Yeah, in a certain neighborhood in Chicago alone. I mean, come on.
But you don't hear about any of that because it's too common. It's not news if it's common, right?
Right, it's not sensational.
So the picture that's being painted is just not correct. It's not really how things are going, and then it's just a way for them to make more money and get these clicks online, and it's really upsetting, man.
Are you telling me the media is twisting the truth to serve an agenda?
I am.
You just shattered my whole world.
Sorry, I'm sure everybody knows this, but it's easy to get sucked in, though, you know? And then, so another thing, and we've talked about this before on previous shows, but Steven Pinker is actually the guy, and I didn't know this when I started talking about it. He's the one who proposed the idea of not publishing the names or faces of these mass killers.
Right, yeah.
And this is something that's completely nonpartisan and should be pretty easy to implement and won't get much pullback from the general population. You know who will be upset about it?
The people that are using it to make money.
Yeah, because and he's also he's intuitive psychologist. Not intuitive. He wants everybody to be intuitive psychologists, and that's just a good thing. But he studies the brain intensively. He's a professor at Harvard, and he believes that a huge reason why these people do this is for the attention, for the fame, the guarantee. If you got nothing going in your life, even like right now, a couple people are watching. We're not famous. We're trying to talk some cool shit, right?
Depends on your definition of fame. I just want 2 people to really like me. Like, give me all their money, like me, but that's all I need.
Yeah.
Just 2 people. So,
but
taking applications.
But what's the sure way that you could overnight become famous?
Yeah. I know, man. It's fucking terrible. It's sad. It's disgusting.
But I'm interested in things that don't alienate anybody in particular in this country and are actual ways that could help, right? And there's a lot of, on many issues, there's people like this guy out there thinking of solutions that aren't infringing on anybody's views. And it's like, more people like that need to exist, and his ideas aren't being perpetuated nearly enough. Like, other than one interview I heard with him, that's the only place I've heard that idea. And this is an idea that should be getting spread around like wildfire.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think it's nonpartisan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I would like to see someone make the case that's not mainstream media of why they shouldn't be allowed to release that name. I mean, they're instantly going to jump to First Amendment right. And it's like, I mean, I guess, but is it really a slippery slope from there? Are we going to go from you can't release the shooter's name to you can't say things that disagree with what we consider to be civil public discourse?
They need to put this on themselves, right? The government doesn't need to put this onto them as a law. It's something that they should do because there is something called, journalistic fucking
integrity.
Integrity.
Yeah.
And this would fall into those guidelines, would it not? How does knowing the name or face of one of these guys help? It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I agree. I mean, granted, when I heard of this shooting, first thing that goes through my mind is how many people, and I want to see this motherfucker.
Yeah, well, we can definitely find out how many people, and we love to fucking pounce on somebody and to have all of our anger directed at something that we know.
Yeah,
and that's why conspiracies are fun too, because people want to jump on something different, and we all have these weird desires to latch on to different stories. But man, I'm just putting it out there, people. Let's try to spread that idea a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good idea.
I'm gonna check back in with our people real quick. You chat for a second.
Yeah. Just a quick aside. Here at Hollywood Hustle, we're a big sponsor of World Peace. We came up with this idea that if everyone could stop killing each other, it would be better for society. So we would like to patent the idea of world peace. You heard it first here on the Hollywood Hustle. Also, a quick shout out to one of our sponsors. We have Kirkland Signature Brands, specifically the condoms and the grain vodka. Kirkland Signature Brands condoms. Not Trojan, but it'll work.
Don't forget the double chocolate muffins.
Oh, yes, and the double chocolate muffins. My bad. You can it's a nice evening. Yeah. Think about it.
Oh, some vodka.
Maybe
some Do you use the condoms before the muffins, or can you change the order as you please?
You don't need to, because the muffins come in packs of 96.
Oh.
Yeah. So next time I bring a beautiful young lady home from bungalow or wherever I'm going, we'll have some grain vodka, a chocolate muffin, and you do the math on the rest.
Oh yeah.
and you fine ladies out there looking for a good time.
Elise commented, said I should share how I picked her up.
Yeah, please do. Please do. What's up, Elise? How you been, girl?
So back to we're jumping around a lot, but that's what we do. So
yeah, we party.
Anywho, I was at a bar. Go figure, right? Wearing a little beanie, just posting up, looking mad cool, chatting, this type of shit. You know, trying to get into some heated conversations.
Yeah, deep political stuff about mass shooters and stuff.
Nothing's off limits, bro. And that's something else that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But anyways, the Elise comes down. I saw her. I'm like, oh, shit, you know, damn. But she's talking to some other guy who's sitting there. He was just there, and he started conversation with her, and they started talking about religion. And this guy's, like, very Catholic. And that is just, like, shooting fish in a barrel, man. That, like, I'm listening, and I'm like, chatting with my buddy, and I hear them talking, and the second I have a window, I'm just like, yeah, like,
right.
And then Elise knew a couple of my buddies. We all go hang out after, and like just instant connection. But being cool, like you said, just being open, being honest, showing your masculinity, but not, you know, true masculinity, which is just a grounded presence, right?
Yeah.
And just knowing who you are.
Just be assertive. That's it. Sums it up. Thank you.
And we ended up really hitting it off, and then a couple weeks went by, and we hadn't seen each other. And then she came to a show. That's icing on the cake right there.
Oh, yeah.
And then went on a date, and that was it. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Nice. Yeah. Say no more. Say no more. Now, what song that you play is her favorite?
From the new record?
Cover that you do?
Okay.
And what's her favorite Yeti Tactics song?
SBU.
Okay.
Which nobody's heard yet. It's coming out on the 22nd. SBU is a acronym for Something About You. And it's a love song. And that's why it's about her.
Oh, makes sense.
So she loves that one. And then as far as covers, I mean, she loves when I do any of the John Mayer stuff or Ed Sheeran. You know, you can't go wrong with that.
Layup.
Yep.
Nice. Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. You guys had a nice, wholesome meeting. You know, that's something you can tell the kids and you can say at your eventual wedding and stuff like that. That's not going to turn off her grandparents.
Organic, you know.
Yeah, USDA approved organic.
GMO free.
Very nice.
Which, I'm not going to go into that now. Never mind. I had a whole rant about GMOs, but I'm not going to go into it.
No, please do. I want you to.
Well, in fact, it's in this book. This guy is saying how anybody who wants to steer away from genetically modified foods is really, really stupid, because apples or any food at all, if we were to eat it as it was originally before we started breeding the best plants or when it comes to meat or livestock, breeding the best with the best, that's genetic modification, people. That is us finding a way to make the best possible food. And so fruits, like apparently apples back in the day were tiny little sour, disgusting pieces of shit.
Huh.
And now we have huge, and they can still be organic. That's different than being covered in pesticides. But
yeah,
but GMOs, it's pretty, it's not ingenuous, or it's not genuine to say that is bad as a blanket statement. There are cases where it can be bad. But I'm tired of people using blanket statements for everything, man.
Yeah. I agree, man. I think when they say genetically modified, everyone thinks of like some dude like putting a bunch of hormones into like a chicken's ass or something like that. Like, no, you shouldn't eat that. Spend the extra $1.99. Yeah, and then you won't end up dying of cancer, because you're either gonna pay it up front, you know, periodically as you decide to buy the organic stuff at Whole Foods. I hope you shop at Whole Foods. If you're shopping at Ralph's or Smart and Final, I mean, you're just begging for some kind of fucking disease.
I go to Erewhon.
Erewhon sounds expensive. I like it.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, yeah, organic is the way to go. You'll feel better. It's the pesticides and things like that. Obviously, they're not even digestible. Here's something really fucking crazy that I heard. Another train I'm getting on is never, if at all possible, drinking tap water, because birth control pills, obviously, you know, people urinate and then it's filtered out and stuff in the tap water. But there's a certain percentage of that that's still in the water. So you got all the fucked up chemicals from birth control and estrogen and shit in the tap water, especially out here in LA, man.
That's interesting. I never heard that. That's cool, though.
Even if that's not a conspiracy, I don't give a shit. I'll buy myself some pH balanced water for 99 cents. I'm rich.
The government's drugging us with birth control. They're putting it in our lines, in our tap water.
Eric Garcetti, mayor of Los Angeles, I know you're doing it. Just kidding. Actually, Eric Garcetti loves our show. I keep trying to get him to come on the show for a bit and talk about LA's independent music scene, but he can't do it. He's a little too busy hiking with Justin Trudeau.
How cute.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's dial it back over to music. So we didn't choose a song of the week today because we're busy.
Spontaneous choice, actually, to do this today, too.
Yeah, so instead we're going to do Artist of the Month.
Oh, shit.
Artist of the Month for Jimi Hendrix, who probably wasn't born in March, but we're doing it anyway. And who the fuck is... Oh, my mom.
Say hi.
Hey, Mom, don't say anything embarrassing. I'm live on a podcast.
Okay, bye.
I'll call you back. I love you.
I love you too. Bye.
Okay, bye. Shout out to my mom.
Yep.
She brought me into this world. Thank you. Anyhow, yeah, Jimi Hendrix. I had never heard of the guy till you brought him up to me.
This morning, yeah.
Yeah, so I checked him out, and I like his fashion sense. And he's really neat. Yeah, holy shit. Where do you start with that guy? Brilliant artist, amazing guitarist, things like that. He actually came out the new record last week. Well, his estate came out the new record. Both Sides of Heaven. What's it called? Something like that?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's cool. I'm sure it's great. I heard one that they released about 6 or 7 years ago. That was another posthumous release. It was just phenomenal. It's good stuff. I mean, just all these recordings he had. He just like lived in the studio and played all the time. He wasn't out at a bar getting shit-faced.
Yeah, there's a kind of a trend here, and this is valuable for people who are trying to get into both music and artistry, but both him and Jimmy Page and countless others, very successful professional studio musicians for hire before they created their identity as an artist.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jimi Hendrix he auditioned, I think, for Chuck Berry's backing band, and they said he was too flamboyant, you don't say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just something to be said about honing your craft before anything. The outfits are amazing. His whole artist vibe is incredible. He's always going to be one of the best ever in that department, but he also is one of the best guitar players ever, and that was before anything else. And that's a problem that a lot of people have with fakers in all different capacities, different careers, is you want to try to portray yourself a certain way when you don't have the goods to back it up.
Right, yeah, and they call them wankers over across the pond.
But Hendrix always was credible as a musician first. And then when he started creating his own stuff, it was like a fucking color explosion.
Oh, yeah, and then him. I mean, he's larger than life. He really is. I mean, he's one of those artists where he's been dead for, what, like 40 years, more than that? And he's still making more money than most artists that are playing now. Right? I mean, it's incredible. But, I mean, I always liked him. Now I'm going to see something a little bit controversial.
Oh, go figure.
Yeah. I do not think he is the greatest guitarist of all time. I think that is a marketing tactic that people fall for like crazy. And here's why. Here's my case. All right, this is a Bates versus Hendrix.
2018.
Yeah, 2018. So it's not that I don't like him or think he's fantastic. It's not it. He did barely anything in the acoustic realm of music. He released very few albums, like 3 albums, 4 albums. Live albums don't count. It's just live performances of shit that you have already recorded. So in terms of being prolific, I don't think that he was there. And all these techniques everyone said he did, like that existed before him. I mean, sure, he expanded upon it, But I frankly don't think that he should be considered in an academic sense as great of a guitarist as Eric Clapton or as great of a guitarist as Jimmy Page. Both their catalogs are much more expansive than Jimi Hendrix. They're both virtuosic masters. They both have tons of hits and then tons of B-side shit that's awesome too. I mean, and they're, you know, I guess they're still alive. I don't think. But one thing with Hendrix, just the last thing is, I'm almost glad he didn't live to that age where they're like, Guitar Center presents the Jimi Hendrix edition Squier Stratocaster.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, you know, going to Guitar Centers, you know, around and like lighting guitars on fires and reenacting Monterey because he blew all his money and or got divorced or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make the case why I love him, which isn't saying he's the best guitarist ever, right? But,
I love him too.
But the reason I think he falls into that category for a lot of people is because of, and this rings true of the other guys you just mentioned, but what you feel when you hear the way that thing just cuts through. It doesn't matter if you're listening in the car, headphones, just even, it doesn't matter. You're going to feel how he felt that moment that he laid down that track. And this is a guy who is connected to himself deeply and his hands. You know, everything was flowing through. And he also, you know, he did have a few new sounds, nothing crazy, but he was using phaser a lot more than most people. Not the only one, not the first one, but at the level that he was doing it at in that year. You know, like that's, he's just an innovative dude who so many people have emulated after. And I think that's another case that's made where Stevie Ray Vaughan was trying to be Hendrix. Not completely, but he wouldn't exist without Hendrix. John Mayer's the current incarnation of that, right?
Yeah, and John Frusciante had a lot of Hendrix influence too. I mean, I think Stevie Ray Vaughan would have been just fine without Hendrix. I think he really liked Hendrix. Stevie Ray Vaughan was a product of the blues. I think he was a product of Albert King. I saw this really interesting little in-studio session that Stevie Ray did with Albert King, and they were reminiscing about when Albert would be doing shows. He'd come through, Steve was at, I think, Austin. He'd come through Austin, do his show, and Stevie Ray Vaughan would be standing backstage, his big hat and his buck teeth. Be like, yo, wherever Stevie come on, he do a couple songs. He was all right. And then... This is my Albert King impression, by the way. I've really been working on this. This is actually my monologue I did in class today, so dig it. Just kidding, but I'm doing it anyway. You know, when we come back around, you know, later tour, and Stevie would be back on stage, I said, hey, Stevie, come on out here, a couple lick. And Stevie come back, he hear a lick or two, I'd be like, boy, where you learn that? Dang, I was a Stevie Gray, man. And now you're here in the studio with me, man, time fly. I'm like, okay. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was like trying to pitch in with his jive, but it didn't jive as hard as Albert King's. He was just like,
I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Stevie Ray, another fucking brilliant guy. Brilliant dude.
Well,
his life's
dude,
just insane.
There's something about the guitar, which is why I lean towards it, even though I'm definitely a better piano player. I love guitar because it's one of the few instruments where you really can feel a person through the way it sounds.
Yeah, it's physical. It's sexual. It's all that shit.
Because when I play keys, sure, you can have your own style and, you know, your voicings and the way you groove, and there's a lot of things that can define you as a player. But if I were to just hit a note, it sounds exactly the same as a 6-year-old hitting that same note. There's no difference. Whereas you hit a note on a guitar and the way you can dig in, the variance of how strong you can pick, how much vibrato you can give, and then, not to mention your fucking amp, your pickups. There's so many variables that you can create your sound, and that's why I love guitar. And it's my favorite pastime, even though I'm a much better keyboard player, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, you're great at both. Your guitar playing's awesome rhythmically. Your version of Hotel California is just awesome. Really, it's great.
People lose their shit.
Yeah, they do. I was there. I saw them. I saw them lose their shit. I left at the end of the night. Feces all over the floor and grown men just stumbling around, not knowing what happened. You know, because he played a fucking Eagles tune. It's really interesting to watch. But yeah, and then I saw you at Masters playing the piano too, and you're like, you know, a non-alcoholic Billy Joel. You're great, like a straight Elton John, and you know, it's awesome. It's fantastic. I love it. You're great, man. I mean, I'll say this on the show, and I'm not fucking, you know, being patronizing or anything here. You're one of the best musicians by far that I've seen since I moved to LA.
Thanks, man.
For real. Yeah, and I've seen a lot of them, and a lot of them are wankers, but there's some good ones too. But you're definitely in the upper 5%.
Thanks, Matt. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long progression, right? From moving from Florida to Canada to study, moving from there to DC and doing the pub thing and being a pro there, and then finally making the jolt out here and seeing how far I can really take it. And it's just fun and trying to keep my head down and just really keep working and get better nonstop. And this album, I can't stop talking about it, and I'm gonna stop. But
Don't stop. It's awesome. Just fucking
I'm so
roll it.
proud of it, dude, and I just can't wait to share it.
Good, man. I mean, again, like I like everything I've heard from it so far. I love the artwork. I know you guys wouldn't put out any wank dog shit, so it's gonna be good. And one more time, the release date.
March 22nd, baby.
March deuce.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
And huge shout out to Sean Sally, the man.
That's right. He's working right now. He's getting his hustle on because these records don't finance themselves, and record companies don't support artists that love what they do and really want to make it anymore. They get Cash Me Outside and fucking Lil Yachty. So think about that for a second.
Yep. We've talked about that ad nauseum for sure.
Yeah.
But
I could do my own podcast, just ranting, just the hate rants with Tom. That's what I'll call it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to check back in, see if there's anything else that people are wanting us to talk about.
Yeah, see what's going on the super chat. What do we got?
Dale says, way to go. What's up, Dale?
Dale.
Sam Schubert says, hi, Tommy and Jordan.
Oh, hey, Sam. I only see her at Christmas. I wish I see her more often. She's so sweet.
She's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think now's the time, because my phone is getting low on juice. I'm going to end the live stream, but we're going to continue podcasting over here for a little bit longer.
Cool.
So
Absolutely. Well, thanks to everyone who tuned into the live stream today. We're going to do more of that. I think we should do it every time.
yeah, why not? I mean, we do these podcasts once a week at least, and we've been kind of getting our stride, and also just try to get a backlog of material too. But if you can watch live, might as well, man. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
Cool.